CBC's Catherine Cullen has the details. Catherine?
Diana, after years of vowing to reform or kill the Senate, today Stephen Harper announced a new plan. He's essentially going to starve it.
With 22 vacancies now, and how many people are noticing? What are the problems this is creating? None.
Stephen Harper is angry about the Senate. It's no wonder. He's got an election looming, and one of his own Senate appointments, Mike Duffy, is about to be back in court facing 31 criminal charges. Just part of a scandal that's plagued the government for more than 2 years.
Public funds should not be used for personal or private activities.
There's also last month's auditor's report questioning the spending of another 30 senators, a mix of conservatives and liberals. All of it dirt for the opposition to fling at Harper in the upcoming election campaign. So today he said he'd take action, essentially by continuing not to act.
We will have a moratorium on further Senate appointments.
Already he hasn't appointed a senator in more than 2 years. For years, Harper has wanted to reform the Senate. But last spring, the Supreme Court ruled changing or abolishing the Senate requires support from the provinces. And many of them have resisted Harper's changes.
Le Québec est opposé à l'abolition du Sénat.
Quebec, for instance, has a lot of Senate seats compared to some other provinces and doesn't want to see that disappear. Harper's hoping by basically slowly bleeding the Senate dry, he'll force the provinces to agree to changes.
The ball's in their court. They can now propose reforms. In the meantime, the membership in the Senate is going to continue to shrink, and Canadians are going to ask the question, if you don't have a program for reform and we're not missing the senators, why not just abolish it?
Abolishing the Senate is exactly what the NDP wants to do. In fact, they've campaigned on it.
Senate abolition begins with a mandate. We're being clear with the Canadian voting public. This is something the NDP intends to do if we're elected.
By contrast, the Liberals have proposed a new way to choose senators and suggest Canadians should be suspicious of Harper's plan.
Mr. Harper has made this promise before. He promised not to appoint any senators. He broke that promise 59 times.
One big question is whether what Harper wants to do is even constitutional. But even if it were successfully challenged in court, that would be well after the October election. Diana?
Thanks, Catherine. Catherine Cullen in Ottawa. Now, as you heard in Catherine's report, there are 22 vacant seats in the Red Chamber. So how many are filled? Right now, there are 83 sitting senators, 47 Conservatives, 29 Liberals, and 7 Independents.